Welcome, everybody. This is episode 251 on the CX-CC YouTube channel, Customer Experience, Customer Centricity. I hope you'll subscribe. This is Shift from Cycles of Failure to Quality and Value. And I'm your hostess, Debbie Levitt from Delta CX. And in today's webinar, I'm going to be doing a brand new talk that I've written. Only a few slides in there are recycled. And I even wrote a slide today. So this is super fresh. And this is it was the closing keynote at the World Usability Congress just a couple of weeks ago in Austria. This is October 2024. I did a shorter version of it there, and I'm going to be doing a shorter version at Convey UX in February 2025. Hi, Ana Lucia, in Seattle. And so because not everybody can make it to those conferences, I wanted to make sure to share this with all of you. So this is your access to this talk. And I'm excited about this talk, and I hope you will share it out with your teams and your coworkers, even non-UX people. A quick thank you to all of our past and present people on Patreon, patreon.com/CXCC. You're welcome to join that for free. You do not have to join it for paid. There isn't much going on in the paid area, but I love having people join even the free Patreon because it's just a great way to stay connected without any algorithms between us, because holy cats, LinkedIn, YouTube, it's a universe of ugly algorithms. All right, so I'm going to jump into my PowerPoint slides, and I want you to use the live chat for any questions or comments you have, but I'm not going to look at those until I'm done presenting the slides. So just make sure that if you have a comment or a question, you're really clear about it. Don't just go, yeah, I agree, because I'm going to see it 40 minutes later. I won't know what you're talking about. So make sure things are really clear, even if you have to write a few messages. The slides should run about 50 minutes. So we're probably going to go a little late today. The gong is going to go off, and we're going to keep going because I accidentally set the gong for 25 minutes. We're going to blow right past that. So today's episode should run a little over an hour, especially if you have questions and comments that I'll be checking at the end. Okay, so let's take a look at my slide. Here we go. I'm down here. Yeah, they still have the countdown, but we're going to ignore it. I took off my glasses for those of you complaining about my the lights reflecting in my glasses, and I'm going to be taking a look at my slide notes, which is why I'm probably not going to see comments and questions until the end. So let's talk about shifting from cycles of failure to quality and value. In case you don't know me, I'm Debbie Levitt. I'm a CX and UX strategist, designer, researcher, change agent for over 20 years. My company is called Delta CX, and we are a full-service CX and UX agency and consultancy specializing in projects, training, consulting, making change, fixing UX teams, improving customer centricity, and things like that. That's why clients call me Mary Poppins. They named me that because I fly in, fix everything I can, and fly away to whatever might need me next. Hi, Amy. Also note, I tend to say CX and UX interchangeably, so, don't take that to mean anything too much. And CX and UX can be the same when we do them well. And also note that because this is one of my typical PowerPoint slides, decks designed for conferences, I have these little camera icons at the bottom. These are great when I'm doing live talks or corporate training, and people love to take pictures of slides and share them out. So the camera icon tells you no more animations are coming up. Hashtag UX. And yeah, join, check me out, be part of the multiverse here at dcx.to. So for today's presentation, don't wait for me to make a few key points. Every slide is full of things you could be saying to coworkers, teammates, leadership, and executives. But let's start by getting on the same page. Everyone at your company wants the same three things. First, customer attraction and adoption. The business wants to see customers sign up, join, or buy. You want to see them do this because we made it easy, and whatever we offer is a good match to your target audiences. Second, Customer satisfaction. The business wants to see good ratings, survey scores, and fewer support tickets. You know that these things are more likely to happen when our products are high quality, easy to use, and help people complete their tasks. And third, customer loyalty and retention. The business wants to see customers staying, buying again, and buying more. You know that this happens when happy customers want to be customers again. We must deliver quality and value to customers at 3 levels, or we can kill adoption, satisfaction, and loyalty. Instead of using the term quality, just for a moment, let's use a popular business term, product market fit. This is when your company knows that they are offering something the target audience really needs and will pay for. There exists a sizable addressable market, and we can prove that we solve their problems or unmet needs well. Many companies stop paying attention to product market fit once they declare that they found it, but that's a mistake. Once we find product market fit, we're not done, because we can lose potential and current customers by not paying attention at granular levels. If product market fit is at a macro level, then a meso or mid-level would be feature market fit. Every feature, function, and service you build into your offering must match your target audiences, or you might lose your audiences and potentially your product market fit. But let's go down to the micro level. I'm calling this touch point market fit. A touch point is every interaction a potential or current customer experiences. They spend time on your website trying to make sense of what you offer and what it costs. These are touch points. Every conversation or email with a salesperson or support representative is a touch point. The fact that you even needed customer support, especially for things you should have been able to do yourself, is a touch point. Every online interaction is a touch point. The menu that works like this, the button that's over here, and the error message you got are all touch points. Touch points are moments of customer and user experience. Can you think of a time when one touch point or interaction with a company made you leave them? I bet you can. And yet teams and companies treat these moments like they're unimportant. Once we have product market fit, we can do anything. And if we suck, sales will have to find more customers to use our garbage. When you start thinking about every touch point, it can be overwhelming at first, but you will start to connect the atoms for yourself. You'll realize all the make or break moments you had with companies. Product market fit is made or broken in each of these atomic moments. Every interaction a human has in your physical spaces or digital systems are touch points, and humans notice when the quality is poor. In conversations with your teammates and leaders, introduce my model of product market fit, feature market fit, and touch point market fit. I made this up, so you might have to explain it, but can you get others to agree that these are not optional, that experiences at all of these levels make or break relationships with customers? If we can agree on that, that will open more doors to the types of conversations we should have about quality. I might write a whole course about this later this year. Haven't decided. What do you think? We're great at failing, but first, let's talk a little more about where things are going so wrong. We've been hearing for years, if not decades, that roughly 90% of startups fail. We hear about similar high failure rates for experiments, A/B tests, and new product launches, even from established companies. We've become very good at failing. We dared to fail. We failed fast. We moved fast and failed. And we failed some more. After failing, we ran as fast as we could straight into another failure. I think most teams forgot how to succeed. And without this success, we won't have the profit or the growth that the business wants. We won't have satisfied or delighted customers who would stay and buy more. How we approach product development and how we try to find product market fit at all levels has stayed mostly the same for many years. So it should be no surprise that our failure rates have stayed the same for many years. Shreyas is one of the most popular product managers on the internet. Here he's asking, quote, "If talk to customers is the biggest secret to product success, then why aren't more products successful? Why are so many founders unsuccessful? What explains product managers who've been talking to customers 5 times a week for years without ever making products that win?" End quote. He asks this as if it's anybody's guess, or this is just something we can never really know. Why, oh why, are we failing so much when we supposedly know that the secret to success is talking to customers? Does Shreyas not know the answer? Or does he not want to say it out loud because of what it might do to product management? UX practitioners and leaders, especially in research, know the answer to this question. We know that flawed pseudo-research done badly by people who didn't plan well, execute well, analyze well, etc., can only lead to flawed, if not invalid data. Treating low-quality data as flawless and valid is why we're not winning. But here's what I really hear him asking. Why isn't anybody held accountable for our failures? Why are PMs continuing to use the same methods even when they produce years of failures? Why doesn't quality matter? If we focus on quality, then it's not okay to fail for years. How long do we let teams fail before we demand change? We're supposed to be experimental and innovative, yet we're afraid to experiment or innovate with our own internal processes. Oh, there we go. Ron Kohavi appeared on Lenny's podcast and said that A/B test failure rates were 92% for Airbnb, 66% for Microsoft, and 50% for Amazon. The bottom of the image on the screen says, at the bottom of it, "It's not about having better product management or working at a better company. It's the nature of product development." End quote. Well, this sounds like, please don't blame us, it's the process. But the process is good, so don't try to change it. Let's remember that we don't have to make excuses for great quality or success. We make excuses for failures that shouldn't have happened. Ron also posted to LinkedIn about a year ago about his time as a VP at Airbnb. Quote, "We tried hard to evaluate in A/B tests only things that we believed had a relatively high probability of being successful." End quote. Despite this attempt to only test what the team was highly confident about, only 8% of tests were successful. This should sound alarms. Consider the process that leads to an A/B test. We know that A, the product we released isn't that great. It's badly broken, it's half-baked, or it has serious room for improvement. We know it's not 5 stars out of 5 quality for our customers. When an A/B test fails, it's a clear sign that we're not working from good evidence or data. We understand our customers so little that B, that we arrogantly hypothesized would be an improvement, was a measurable, palpable downgrade. We burned time and money by releasing or experimenting with something that performed worse than what we already had. That means we're not fast, we're not agile, we're not lean. We're slowly crawling our way through guesses and hoping that the next dart we throw hits the board. B failed. And do we stop to learn why? Design, color, content, flow, steps, bugs, and information architecture are just some of the long list of possible root causes for an experience failure. We can't really fix something when we don't understand why it's broken. We should consider changing the process if we are experiencing this much failure. This is not the nature of product development. Well, it's not the nature of good product development. A 0% failure rate is impossible, but every company and team should want to minimize failures, risks, and consequences. Hey Shreyas, here's part of your answer. Product managers can do poor research, ship losing features and products, and rationalize it away because look at how much big companies are getting it wrong. We can get it wrong a lot too. We've convinced ourselves that cycles of failure are part of good strategy or product management. We say outcomes over outputs, but we don't seem to have quality standards for either. Our outcomes can be cycles of failure, and our leaders slap each other on the back and say it's part of a good process. We don't want to admit that our failure rates are inexcusable. We don't want to talk about how bad our conversion or retention rates are, so we lower our standards. We broadcast that high failure rates are great. We popularize sayings that inspire people to fail, seemingly as much as they possibly can. The average conversion rate on Shopify e-commerce stores in 2024 is 1.4%. That means that online stores running Shopify fail to sell anybody anything over 98% of the time. We've normalized crappy averages so much that we think it's pretty good if you fail over 96% of the time. Are you seeing a trend here? We care so little about quality and taking actions that make customers want to buy, be happy, and stay. Instead, we'll tell everybody how great it is to fail, and don't worry, you're in good company. Lots of us are failing, so keep failing. We'll tell each other to spend no time understanding root causes or making this better. It's probably good enough, right? We increasingly shift to methods that are more focused on speed than quality because success is less important than meeting deadlines. You might call it hypothesis-driven development or a culture of experimentation. Maybe it's product first or product-led. It might be the lean startup or continuous discovery habits approach. It comes under many names and is credited to many different people, but often takes the same form. Start with an idea. That's the beginning. This is our hypothesis. We believe our idea is good, and we will learn if we're right by creating and testing an experiment. This image from Cohen's hypothesis-driven development shows a process. Step 1, idea. Step 2, hypothesis. Step 3, experimentation design. Step 4, experimentation. Step 5, inference. Step 6, pivot or persevere. Pivoting sends you back to cycle around again. Someone please tell him he didn't invent anything. He took the scientific method and cut off the most important stuff so that he can be product first instead of being knowledge first. The scientific method is often shown as having 5 core steps or phases. Step 1, research and observe. Step 2, form a question or problem statement based on your research. Step 3, create a hypothesis, an idea, or potential solution for this question or problem. Step 4, design and run an experiment that would show where your hypothesis worked well or poorly. Step 5, draw conclusions, report results, and decide what to do next. New variations of the scientific method remove half of the science. We started at step 3 of the scientific method, thinking that'll speed things up. We imagine we don't really need to research or observe first. When people tell me their teams are so into experimentation and it's so good for learning, I ask them for examples of what they've learned. Well, we learned that people didn't like some of the changes we tried. Okay, that's good, but do you know why that variation or design didn't work? Did you determine the root causes so that you know what to keep and what to change? Silence. It's almost as if we've become allergic to good knowledge about anything. Let's go back to our scientific method and look at how human-centered design overlays it well. Each human-centered design phase contains multiple tasks that can be done in a larger cyclic process. I'm just showing a very simple visualization so that I can match a high-level process to the scientific method. Step 1 of the scientific method is to research and observe. This matches our discovery phase. We're solution agnostic. We're not researching our idea, who likes it, who wants it, or what would they pay for it. At this point, we're learning about people, contexts, and systems. It's the learn in Learn, Build, Test. Research leads us to better understand tasks, problems, and perspectives. This allows us to write problem statements from the perspectives of target audiences. This is scientific method step 2, where we create problem statements or frame a question. Step 3 of the scientific method is our hypothesis. This is the idea or potential solution that would answer the question or solve the problems. These cycles of solution exploration and design are the build in Learn, Build, Test. Step 4 of the scientific method is to design and run our experiment. Evaluative research evaluates an idea, concept, prototype, or live service or product. It's called evaluative because we are evaluating if we've solved the problem well. This can be evaluative and usability testing on a UX prototype. We don't have to spend days or sprints coding something real just to know if we're going in the right direction. You'll get better information and earlier from a more realistic prototype like Axure. That's why I recommend Axure over Figma. Hashtag not sponsored. Figma, you still can't type in a box. Not very realistic. And step 5 of the scientific method examines our testing data, draws conclusions, and makes decisions about what to do next. Based on how our testing goes, we'll need to determine if changes or improvements are all we need. Or do we need to completely rethink the solution or design because it's not good enough, it's not close? Experiments and some iteration won't get us there. Steps 4 and 5 of the scientific method match the test in Learn, Build, Test. Visualizing our high-level process in this way helps us see that the popular build, test, learn doesn't match the scientific method. It's missing learning before we build. We're coming up with solutions without understanding the problems we're solving. Evaluative testing of your idea or hypothesis isn't really discovery research and doesn't match the scientific method. Opinions, guesses, assumptions, and hopes aren't discovery or discovery research. Make sure that we have user discovery before we have product or feature discovery. Anything that doesn't match the scientific method or waters it down significantly introduces risk and waste. We're reducing quality and increasing the chances of expensive failures. The concept of a minimum viable product, MVP, doesn't hold up well when the conversation turns to quality, the quality of our outputs, outcomes, and customer experiences. We pretend that we can validate whether people need a car we haven't built by delivering a skateboard users didn't want and don't need. I have no idea if you will love the pizza if I only give you a spoon of tomato sauce. Even if you like the tomato sauce, if a pizza isn't right for your needs, or I make a crappy pizza, I might waste time, money, and materials on delivering you the wrong product. What makes us think that users need a car? We're guessing that they need a red 2-door convertible, and we plan to build the entire car and possibly a bunch of unwanted vehicles to find out if our guesses are good. If we guess wrong, we'll call that great product strategy and pretend we're really learning from failures, all while not really understanding why we failed. If we're starting with sad user faces, we're getting this wrong. If users need a car, neither a single wheel nor a skateboard will be a match to their needs. Neither a single wheel nor a skateboard will tell you if the planned car is the right solution for users' pain points and needs. Users don't want minimally viable anything. They want their needs understood and their expectations met or exceeded. There are problems at every step of our failure glorification cycle. We don't want to take the time to learn why early, even when authors and trainers tell us how important early evidence, data, and knowledge are. We think it's better to meet unreasonable deadlines. We often stop at domain knowledge, subject matter experts, or assumptions. We lack extensive information about our target audiences, their contexts, unmet needs, behaviors, motivators, demotivators, collaborators, and decision-making process. I had a loud on LinkedIn product leader tell me that if you can find 10 people who have the product you think they have, your idea is validated. Who needs research when you can call 10 white guys and hear that your idea is good? We read all of the that's out of order. We read all of the I'll just load them up. The copycat books that said it would just be faster to start with an idea and find out later if it has any value. We don't really care about product market fit. We just want to throw the dart of our idea at our target audiences and hear that our idea is great. So we just ship it. We release it to some or all of the public, or perhaps it's part of an experiment or A/B test. We will let this exact execution of a single concept go live, possibly to paying customers who rely on us. Even when we've proven time and time again that this approach is misguided, we foolishly believe that this time will be different. We release products and services that we already know are incomplete, broken, or likely to fail. Our declaration that we will fix it later shows that we know that this doesn't meet quality standards now. If we're okay releasing broken things and skateboards we know need later fixes, what are our quality standards? So we shipped something and we failed again. Whatever we unleashed on the public or our customers didn't have product, feature, or touch point market fit. It didn't achieve the goals we set out. A failure to meet or exceed user standards became a failure to meet or exceed our metrics. And this probably wasn't the first time we had a small or large risk, failure, waste of time, waste of money, or waste of customer trust and goodwill. Since we normalize and glorify failure, nobody's in trouble. Nobody gets a stern talking to. Nobody's on a performance improvement plan. Nobody's budget is cut, and nobody's in any kind of trouble at all. There's no accountability. Someone will declare, failure is great for learning, even when we know we learned nothing other than this execution of this idea failed. The product leader isn't in any trouble after inventing a fake user problem, pretending their idea is great, and burning so much company time and money on failure. We don't know why we failed. Bad idea? Bad execution of a good idea? False validation of a problem we didn't fully understand or a problem that doesn't exist? But we're under pressure to make some numbers. Nobody seems to care why this was wrong for customers and ultimately wrong for our company. We did the wrong thing. And we might have known early that we were doing the wrong thing. With no accountability and with influential leadership voices telling us to go fast and meet deadlines, let's just try something else. Someone will pass around an article that talks about how you can build and ship product without doing any research. We'll add another layer to the guessing lasagna and cycle around again. The guessing lasagna starts with opinions, guesses, and assumptions about customers. We layer on guesses about why they do or don't take certain actions. We assume guessing will be faster than the qualitative research that would answer our team's open questions. Our next layer of guesses is the solutions we hope will make customers happier, achieve business goals, or on a good day, both. The more guesses we layer on, the more likely it is that one or more of these are incorrect, leading to foreseeable and avoidable failures. Why aren't we holding anybody accountable for foreseeable and avoidable failures? Models tell us that if an experiment fails, keep iterating and experimenting, but there is an unspoken high-risk assumption here. Your idea was close, so try a variation of it. But think about famous product and service failures. Were they 1 iteration away from success? 5 iterations? If they'd only just iterated for a few more sprints, would they have been successes? When we think about companies who had to pivot or go out of business, they probably weren't just a few experiment cycles away from the right solution. The other risky assumption is the "my opinion is right" / "I really know our users." We know we've run into this risk when we are fighting over what we should or shouldn't do. Everybody has a different opinion. Everybody thinks different things will work or not work for users. Fighting over opinions is a sign that we lack evidence, data, and knowledge. If we all had the same knowledge about users and their contexts and needs, we'd have way less fighting. We'd be more naturally aligned around user needs, and it wouldn't be a fight over opinions. This is where I recommend learning and running my knowledge quadrant exercise. No time to teach that today, so please find it as episode 196 on the CX-CC YouTube channel. The only conversation to have is quality, but that conversation comes in many forms. I get it. I've been there with all of you, fighting on one or more of these hills. UX isn't UI. Evangelize UX more. Low UX maturity. Everybody's a designer. Design thinking, design sprints, and lean UX. Agile. Democratization. Empathy. Fail fast and break things. We thought that if we fought each of these head-on, we would really help teams and companies understand the value of CX, UX, design, user-centered design, human-centered design, or whatever we're calling it. We fought so many battles on so many fronts, but it's the casino. It's designed for us to lose. We lose the fight, we lose our strength and motivation, and we feel like losers or imposters. If we focus on quality, we won't need to die on any of these hills. These hills will go extinct when they are out of style, unimportant, or are proven to lack quality. The real enemy hiding behind each of these hills is quality. Therefore, we need to keep the conversations about quality. If someone says, "I'm gonna democratize UX research and the whole company will do design thinking," let's create some quality standards around that. I think I went through that in the Customers Know You Suck book twice. How will we measure outputs and outcomes? How will we know when these methods are failing us so that we can shift away from them? If you're going to try these methods, and I can't stop you, then let's create a date when we will examine this and determine if it's working for us or not. We know how to determine if A/B tests, product launches, and other adventures are successful. Surely we can figure out how to determine if design thinking or anything on this screen is producing success after success or not. There we go. As we open more conversations about quality and value, we must also discuss the risk of pursuing that quality, as well as the risk of ignoring or deprioritizing it. Lean Six Sigma covers this in their concepts of the costs of good quality and the costs of poor quality. You can Google this. I didn't make it up. Here's the short version. Companies sweep the costs of poor quality under the rug while avoiding the costs of good quality. The costs of poor quality include delays, rework, morale, customer trust, lawsuits, and trying to fix broken things later. What does customer support cost us? What do unhappy or angry customers cost us? Nearly everything can be estimated or calculated. We know what failures cost. We're just hoping nobody asks us what that number is. Document parts of projects that could create any of these wastes or costs. Add them to the risk register or risk documentation. Bring this up in retro because Agile is about constantly reflecting on how things went and then actively making improvements. The costs of good quality fall into two categories: prevention and appraisal. These cost our company time and money, but should be seen as investments that more than pay for themselves. We'll achieve our goals and we'll save ourselves from risk, waste, and failures. These costs include strategizing and planning, establishing and enforcing standards, assessing our workers, both during our hiring process and during projects, and constant quality checks to make sure that we are meeting or exceeding our standards. This is more than just QA for our code. This includes the quality of our evidence, data, knowledge, strategies, priorities, decisions, processes, solutions, designs, and more. Everything on this screen is the ROI and the value of doing a better job earlier. Better customer outcomes drive better business outcomes, the conversion, satisfaction, retention, and growth that every company wants. It's simple math. The total cost for our company to create something that would be seen as high quality and valuable by our target audiences are all of these costs combined. There's no subtraction here. Investments in prevention and appraisal are part of what we spend on quality. Investments in avoiding failures and poor outcomes are part of what we spend on quality. Investments in fixing later what we know now is broken are part of what we spend on quality. Better quality for customers should lead to the success and metrics the business wants. A smarter and more strategic company knows that spending more money up front to create more quality earlier means that we spend less time, money, and resources later on trying to fix what's broken. These don't make great memes or sound bites, but move a little more slowly and break less. Fail fast, but understand why so that you fail less often. Don't ship it until we're sure it's 5 stars out of 5 quality for users. It's not good enough yet. Users shouldn't have to figure it out or struggle. There are endless areas where we can introduce quality in our conversations. I don't love wordy slides, but since you might refer to this later, let's get everything on the screen. We claim we want to be evidence-based and data-driven, but we avoid evidence and data that might take the investment of time and specialists. Why do we avoid the best collection and analysis of evidence and data that would influence our strategies, priorities, and decisions, plus our product and service direction? Why do we try to solve problems we don't understand for people we don't understand? If we care about quality in our internal processes, why aren't we using UX prototypes as the MVP? Rounds of testing and iteration on a no-code or low-code prototype are way more efficient than waiting for developers to build, test, and release something real. We claim that we love failure because it's an opportunity to learn, but we know that we're not learning much because we cycle around and fail again, often in a similar way. We might know that people didn't want the thing that we tried building, but do we stop to find out why not? Don't we want to know which aspects of it worked well and should stay, and which aspects of it had room for improvement or need to be replaced? Why are we complacent about repeated failures? Why aren't we more concerned? Why aren't we strategizing and taking action to ensure greater future success? If we care about quality in users' experiences, why are we trying to deliver something small that might not match what people need? Creating empathy and delight are Grand Canyon away from what is minimally viable. Did we fix later what we knew was broken or what customers complained about? Are we really building something likely to work well for target audiences, or are we hoping to manipulate or force people into doing what we want them to do, even if it's not what they want to do? If failures prove that we don't know our users well, or we don't know what they want, or we don't know them at all, can we please budget time and resources to run the research that will align us on who users are, their tasks, and unmet needs? How are we measuring customer success? We must go way beyond asking users if they like things or if something was easy. Usability testing must check if we solved the real problem well without creating new problems. And finally, and most importantly, why deliver something we know now is incomplete, broken, or will need to be fixed later? We might meet a deadline, but it sounds like we are far from what should be our standards of quality. I've got a few more slides, and then I'll look at your questions and comments, so keep them coming. Quality as a focus and a priority. I've heard some people say that we shouldn't bother talking about quality because companies are happy with their level of quality. Even if the quality is poor, companies don't want to change their standards. They don't want to spend more time or money delivering more quality. If that were true, then our meetings would be much shorter than they are now. The answer to everything would be that our standards for quality in our products and services balance well with the profits we'd like to make. And to maintain that profit or those deadlines, we don't want to raise our standards for quality. Well, let's imagine that it's true that our company won't invest in improving quality or the value we deliver to users, customers, and everybody in our experience ecosystem. That means a bunch of meetings and conversations will never happen because we don't want to improve quality. Or these meetings are very short since someone demands answers and we tell them we're happy with things this way. We balanced quality, deadlines, and budgets, and we don't plan to change those. We can stop having conversations and meetings to discuss things like, why is our NPS or customer satisfaction score stagnant or dropping? Why do we have so many customer complaints? Why is our app getting so many low or one-star reviews? Why do customers leave us for a competitor? Why don't people sign on or buy? Why do customers downgrade or leave? Why is utilization so low or lower than we expected? Why did an A/B test fail when we confidently guessed that B was better than A? Why did we miss targets or our KPIs again? Why haven't we innovated or invented anything? If all of these are good enough and we don't plan to be better, then these conversations are very short or never happen. We don't need another sales meeting about why do customers downgrade, leave, or refuse to sign on. We already know, and we don't care to be better. We don't need another product management meeting on fuzzy strategies, missed goals, and our latest failures. We already know, but we don't care to be better. The answer to all of these is we're good enough. We don't plan to address any of these because we don't plan to change our standards of quality or value. We'll ignore all of the hints and signs that our quality and standards are too low. If we raised our quality standards, Sorry, that shouldn't come up yet. If we raised our quality standards, we might achieve all of these goals more efficiently with less risk and waste. That's the whole point of the term ROI. We invest money into something and we find that we're making more money and achieving other goals because of that investment. But while we would rather maintain the status quo and keep things at their current quality level, that's your conversation ender. Why? Because that's the level of quality our company has decided is the maximum we will produce. We could do better, and we decided we didn't want to. Don't change anything because what we're doing now really works. Tell everybody this is working and hope they don't ask us to explain how methods we claim are working produce so much failure. People trying to convince each other to ignore or glorify failures like to say, perfect is the enemy of good. This is often used as an excuse to skip research, avoid being evidence-based, or choose speed over quality. But it turns out that the true enemy of good is that we aren't that good. We are not blocked or slowed down by the pursuits of perfection. We're slowed down by cycles of guesses, failures, and all of the hypotheses and ideas that ended up being far from great. None of us request or demand perfection. Even our customers know we're not perfect, but they request and hope for quality. Are we delivering quality? Are we good in the eyes of our customers? We've tried lots of methods that focus on fast. How about we focus on methods that produce the most success for our customers and in turn, the business? We can have conversations or run exercises to help our teammates and leadership think about all of the times they disliked or hated a company at a macro, meso, or micro level. We can get them thinking about the poor quality, bad service, evil customer support, and shady tactics. They can easily remember the times they complained, downgraded, or canceled because products, features, and touch points couldn't meet their expectations or standards. Get your teammates and leadership thinking about the unholy hell that they've experienced with various products and services. They don't want minimally viable anything. They don't want broken things a company may or may not fix later. They don't want what someone just shipped to meet a deadline. They don't want services and systems that can't be used by people with disabilities, diagnoses, conditions, and other accessibility needs. And they certainly don't want unethical crap and deceptive design. Despite how much we are aware of hating when companies do this to us, we show up to our jobs and make decisions that unleash this unholy hell on others. We say we're good enough and just ship it. We have such low standards that we don't mind delivering to other people what we hate when companies do it to us. We might meet a deadline. We might make a number go up. But what about our company values? What about the promises we make to customers and workers? Are we keeping these promises? Do we really have empathy when we knowingly release garbage? That doesn't match my definition of empathy or any of my other values. We might have to have tough conversations where we ask how a decision, feature, or touch point fulfills or works against our company values. Will we be a product-led, engineering-led, or sales-led organization? Will we be values-led, as in led by our company values? I say that we should be value-led. How much quality and value can we frequently create for potential and current customers? Wouldn't that be a product-led organization? Being product-led is supposed to be about attracting and retaining customers through high-value products, services, and experiences. But some product-led companies decide on features based on guesses, assumptions, or things they want to push people to do. That might be product-led, but it wouldn't qualify as value-led. We might say that we're a sales-led organization, but ultimately, we're selling products and services, which must be an excellent fit at the product, feature, and touchpoint level. Sales will struggle to turn trial customers into paid, turn leads into conversions, and retain and grow existing customers when we fail to meet target audiences standards. All roads lead back to value and quality as perceived and judged by customers. Many of you, and that includes me, have spent years in conflicts that were not really the center of our problem. Our job titles and the fake UX flavor of the month have sucked, but they could have been problems that were solved faster if we had addressed them at their core. And the core is quality. If fake UX or diluted, democratized UX delivered amazing quality and outcomes with few failures, it's hard for me to tell your company to stop using that fake UX method. But if the fake UX method failed over and over, then we could have shut it down earlier by focusing on quality and outcomes. We should have been able to say, aha, we tried that. It's cool that we tried that, but its performance didn't meet our standards. The technique is working so rarely that we should rarely use it or just stop using it. If bad product management, bad product strategy, or bad product discovery are causing continuous failure habits, we might have more successfully pushed against these earlier by focusing on quality. If these methods were creating amazing and consistent product and user success, it would be hard for us to tell people not to use those methods. And Shreyas wouldn't have a question to ask. But continuous failure habits are excused away as good product development, and nobody is disagreeing. What would happen if we suggested that these methods produce more risk, waste, and failures than our company should deal with? If your company keeps saying innovation, but doesn't get the basics right, these should be conversations about quality. If your company focuses on innovation and experimentation, but keeps doing the same old things wrong over and over, I'd like to make up a Latin-based word and call that priscavation, the opposite of innovation. Prisca meaning early, former, and ancient. We keep doing the same old thing in the same old broken ways. We don't innovate, we priscavate. I like my made-up word priscavation because it also has a hint of cavare, to make something hollowed out, the root of the word excavation. And sometimes it all feels so hollow. Our world is full of high failure rates, failed experiments, low feature utilization, and teams pretending to be surprised by crappy outcomes they pretend they didn't see coming. Keep the conversation about quality and success, and perhaps you can inspire leaders to shift away from the methods creating poor quality and low success. If we want to be experimental, then we experiment with our own processes. If we care about efficiency, then we try processes that help us make fewer bad decisions and more great decisions earlier. We put the important first half, all of that generative research, back into the scientific method. And that's it. Those are my slides. Don't forget my Customers Know You Suck book and my new Life After Tech book, and everything you can find on deltacx.com. So I will shift back to a giant picture of me. And let's take a look at some of what's been in the chat, as well as I want to pull up LinkedIn on my phone just to make sure I haven't missed any comments there. Sometimes I miss those, so let's see. LinkedIn people, I see you now. Oops. Okay, I see you, and I don't see any questions there. Okay, I haven't missed anything. Thank you. Okay, so let's take a look back at comments, mostly from Ana Lucia, who said, I'm still wondering if A/B test was the right method, or even if they were asking the right questions. The quote about celebrating failure. A lot of companies use a lot of A/B tests, and I think a lot of them are not the right way to go. They don't replace good usability testing. They don't usually tell us what's wrong or why. They just tell us B wasn't better than A, or it was, based on whatever our measurements were, but sometimes those are business-centric measurements and they're not about customer success or improved customer experiences. So I'm not a huge fan of A/B testing, especially when I think it's being used in the wrong way. LinkedIn, do you have any comments? Put them up now. I'm watching for you. I see you watching. Ana Lucia also said, I've been seeing many companies so focused in quantitative methods that it's possible some of them are just trying to use quant to try to answer every question, even if it's not adequate. Sure, it's always faster and cheaper to run a survey, but you don't always end up with good data. Who did you survey? How were the questions written? How did you analyze it? There's still a lot of unknowns that can make a survey, even with good intentions, turn out to be bad data. So lots of things to ask. Jody said, thanks, Debbie. I'm off to a meeting. I look forward to watching the rest later. Have a great night. Thank you, Jody. I hope you will watch it later. This will be archived on our YouTube channel, CX-CC, and it's episode 251. So you can just go to YouTube and type CX-CC 251 and it'll be there. Ana Lucia said, companies are so focused on innovation that they even forget that they should be the best at non-innovation before even considering new products or services. It's just releasing. In the end, they may never release what actually meets their users' needs and help their tasks. It's just building on top of imperfect or incomplete products and services. Yeah, I certainly agree. It's not that I'm against innovation, but so many companies are saying, oh, we want to innovate. We're innovative. And when I say, great, what have you innovated? There isn't a good answer. Redesigning a web page isn't necessarily innovation. Improving a metric isn't necessarily innovation. Innovation is supposed to be something really new. In some cases, never before seen. Think about what do you see as an innovation? If you're watching live, especially you LinkedIners, you're so quiet today. Give me an example of something you thought was really innovative. And remember, the root of innovative is the word nova, new, completely new. Not, oh, we took this other thing and we made it kind of like this other thing. New, innovative. What can you think of? Let's see if anybody has any in the comments. Let's see. So yeah, thank you for hanging out for an hour with me. Sorry about the misplaced gong. But this is my shift from cycles of failure to quality and value that I did last week as a closing keynote. So obviously I'm available to do it at your conferences and events. This was the long version. The other ones were about 40 minutes, so I'd cut a few slides. So you get the 12-inch dance remix, and I'll be doing the shorter version at Convey UX conference in Seattle in February. Monica says, do you have any good experience in, I guess that's measuring, a better customer experience? It's a great question. Thank you for that. I like to try to measure customer experiences by however the customer would define success. So very often it's, did I get stuff done? Did I get it done efficiently? Sometimes that has to do with, do they want to get it done quickly? Then maybe that matters. Do they want to get it done slowly where time doesn't matter? Okay, but what about success? I don't know why Google is talking to me. But what about success and what about mistakes or errors? So if you can increase people's ability to do a task quickly, but they're making more mistakes, or they're seeing more error messages, or they're contacting customer support more, you might not have made this better. So I can't say, oh, there's one metric everybody needs to use. We go into depth about metrics in Chapter 8 of Customers Know You Suck. But my suggestion is to try looking at it from the customer and user experience aspect of it. It's easy to come up with business goals and business metrics and things the business wants to see go up or down. That's the easy part. But when it comes to the customer part, I can't just say everybody always do this. It really depends. But I'm looking for signs, early signs, that the customer was successful. So people might say, oh, how many positive reviews did we get on this review website? Okay, that's fine, but that's also late in the game. That's more of a lagging metric. It's not going to tell us earlier if customers are having success. We might have already really failed and alienated them and pissed them off by the time we're seeing those reviews. So again, it's not that those reviews are a bad measure, but try to also look at the what's the earliest thing that we can look for that tells us people are getting their tasks done well, accurately, without having to learn something, without needing customer support and things like that. So it's going to be different for B2B, B2C, and different things. But that's what I'm always looking for. So if you have a shopping website, what's a sign that a customer had success? Sure, you want to see them buy something, and that's success for the business and for the customer, but there might be even earlier signs. What about the way people work with search and search results? If you find people keep searching for the same thing over and over, or they search and then they slightly change their search words, and they search again and then they change the words again, if we were to monitor this, this could be a clue that our search results aren't good. They're not matching people. They have to keep fine-tuning their search. So think about things that make sense for what you're working on, that might be early signs that things are working well or not working well. If it takes 10 searches to get people to a product page, okay, maybe they're indecisive, but maybe our search stinks, and maybe that's worth taking a look at. Thanks, Monica. Let me know if you have a follow-up question or what you think of that. Sorry, I can't be more specific. I'd have to know kind of what your business or job or product or service is to try to see if I can come up with some good ideas. Ana Lucia says, I'm not against innovation. It can definitely run concurrently to research and development for the basic product and service. But losing focus to the newer things because of the shiny new thing, it's sad. Monica says, thank you so much. So inspiring. Well, thank you, Monica. Thanks for joining us. And don't forget, this is archived. It's always hard to find on LinkedIn later, and you're on LinkedIn. Find it on YouTube and subscribe there. CX-CC is our channel. It'll be episode 251. I'll be moving it into a playlist, but share it out to people later. And stay hydrated. Great. So I'm happy. I'm pretending this is my big conference talk. I'm happy to take any other questions. Otherwise, we can wrap up. Yeah, thank you, Monica. Thank you so much. Thanks to the people still watching on LinkedIn and YouTube. And again, I can't stand algorithms. I really hope more and more of you will join my communities in ways where there isn't an algorithm between us. Mostly that tends to be Slack, Discord, and Patreon. Because of what's going on in the job market, a lot of people have been very quiet in Slack and Discord, and my Patreon isn't as active, but I'm still hoping people will join and drop by. Let's make it more active again. I'm sure you've got something on your mind. You might have a question. So come join the community. These are all free. There is no charge. There's no secret club. There's no secret handshake. These are free. Okay, and a quick plug for something else I'm working on, in addition to plug for Life After Tech. Next Monday's webinar is going to be on our Life After Tech, or actually on YouTube. It's your Life After Tech YouTube channel. We're going to be talking about who do I think is going to be the last job role to still have a job in tech. Ooh, spicy. Monica says, banking and insurance. Yeah, so obviously there's so many different tasks people have to do in banking and insurance, and I would be taking a look at each of those tasks because I care about tasks and task analysis. Larry Marine's Disruptive Research book, super recommended. I co-wrote that with him. So banking and insurance is hard, for me to just say. Why? Because there are so many tasks people can do with insurance. Shopping for insurance, reviewing their insurance, changing their insurance. What can they do themselves? What do they have to do through an agent? Banking, personal banking, business banking, commercial banking, opening an account, dealing with your account, making a payment, getting a payment, closing an account. There's so many tasks that someone could go through. And I think there should be good customer-based measurements for all of these things. How do we know? I mean, let's ask ourselves. Let's take a particular task. How do we know when the customer is successful? We might say, well, they finished the task. Okay, but is the task short and simple and linear? Or is this a 6-page form? Or is this a complicated process? Does it have a lot of steps? How do we know that the customer got it right? How do we know that this was a good experience for them? How do we know that this didn't ruin their day? So what kind of qualitative or quantitative research can we do? What kinds of things can we measure to see if we are truly 5 stars out of 5 and successful in the eyes of the customer? And I want to take that, I know it's a big dream, but I want to take that task by task. Because if your company is great at signing people up and onboarding them, but then you F it up every other step of the way, and at the end people just want to run screaming from your company, congratulations. That was part of a story I told in the Customers Know You Suck book, where I talked about an unnamed company who measured their NPS at different points of the customer relationship. And this was a B2B relationship. And they found that when the relationship started, they took an NPS score and they found that their score was 50. And that's pretty good considering NPS goes from positive 100 to negative 100. So 50 is not that bad. And then they took the NPS again in the middle of the relationship and they found that it was much lower. And then they took the NPS when it was time to see if customers would renew their contract and sign again. And they found their NPS was, wait for it, negative 25. Is that success? Is that good? Are we good enough? Are we helping customers do their tasks? So, and why did we know this earlier? Yes, we knew this earlier. We had a midpoint NPS that did badly. So what did we do about it? What action did we take? So I'm not saying NPS is the greatest thing. It's highly flawed. I don't love it, but it's one way to take a temperature at different points of a longer process, like this was a 6-month customer relationship, and see for individual people, does the score tend to stay the same over time? Does it tend to drop over time? Do people become happier with us as it goes on? So again, I don't love NPS, but it's just one of many tools that we can use or combine together to try to figure out, are users successful? Are they getting it done? Deanna, what are you doing? Deanna. Sorry, one of my dogs is acting suspiciously. Deanna, come over here. Let's see if we can get Deanna to join the show. Deanna, come here. Come here. Sue. No, now she's dancing. I wish you could see it. Come here. Oh my gosh. She knows I'll pick her up. She's run away. Anyway, any other comments or questions? If you find you still have comments and questions and this show is over, just leave them under the YouTube video. Ask your question. I always respond to them personally, so you are welcome to do that. If you're on YouTube, once this stream ends, please hit like and leave a comment. Definitely helps us in the algorithm. And sorry there were no guest star dogs today. All right, so let's take a quick look at what's coming up next on our channel. Tomorrow on this channel, I'll be doing Q&A AMA. Oh, thank you, Sakura Samurai, for subscribing. Pew. So tomorrow on this channel, CX-CC, plus live on LinkedIn, I'll be doing my Q&A AMA. That's where you can ask me any question at all, anything related to CX, UX, customer experience, user experience, product design, research, product strategy, business strategy, and it's just free mentoring. So come ask your stuff. You can ask questions anonymously or ahead of time. There's a link on dcx.to, so get your questions in. Wednesday is another Q&A AMA, but this one is on our Life After Tech. It's from that universe. So that is the Your Life After Tech YouTube channel. I couldn't get Life After Tech. Your Life After Tech, and it'll also be on LinkedIn. You can get those questions in not through dcx.to, but through our other page, lat.link. That's our URL shortener. It'll take you to our Life After Tech website. Hit the resources page and send your question in. And then that's it until next Monday, when we'll talk about the last multi-corn standing. Whose job do I think will stick around and be with us for the longer haul? You may or may not like my answer. So that will be live next Monday, week from today, same time, 8 p.m. Italy time. Remember, different countries are changing clocks at different times, so please do check. Also at dcx.to, we have an events calendar, and you can also RSVP for events. That doesn't put you on a mailing list. My system will just email you to remind you of the event. All right. Thanks, everybody. And I hope to see everybody tomorrow at the Ask Me Anything stream, and I'll be answering your questions again. So, yeah, thanks again, and catch you later.